course I know motherfuckers wanna kill me.
Hey y'all, man, they just shot FBG Duck in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro.
FBG Duck's murder was one of the boldest drill hits ever caught on camera. Now, the case is heating up again this time. The feds are officially linking Lil Durk to it. In this video, we're breaking down how Durk allegedly gave the green light for the hit that killed FBG Duck and how a rap beef turned into a major federal murder investigation. But before we dive into all the details, let's set the stage, especially for those who might not be familiar with the drill scene in Chicago. We're talking about two major names in Chicago street rap: Lil Durk, who's connected to O Block and the Black Disciples, and FBG Duck, who repped Chicago and the Gangster Disciples. This wasn't just about diss tracks and rap beef. This was deep-rooted gang politics tension that had been building for over 10 years. Court documents, federal investigations, and even civil lawsuits now tell a story more intense than anything you'd see in a movie, a story involving alleged bounties, planned hits, and a criminal conspiracy that prosecutors say goes all the way up to Lil Durk's crew, Only the Family, OTF, which is now being investigated as a criminal enterprise. August 4, 2020, that's the day everything changed in Chicago's drill scene. FBG Duck, real name Carlton Weekly, was shopping in the upscale Gold Coast neighborhood, grabbing gifts for his son's birthday. That's when everything went left. Duck was gunned down in broad daylight right in front of a Dolce & Gabbana store. He was hit 16 times, while his girlfriend Kashak Williams and another person nearby were also injured in the gunfire.
Hey y'all, man, they just shot FBG Duck in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro. In the Gold Coast of Chicago.
But here is where things get really crazy. This wasn't just some random street beef that spiraled out of control. According to a major lawsuit filed by Duck's mother, Lashina Weekly, the hit was planned from the top. She claims that King Von put a $100,000 bounty on FBG Duck's head and that Lil Durk was allegedly the one pulling the strings behind the scenes, acting as the mastermind behind OTF.
Our complainant law lays out that a $100,000 bounty was placed on the life of FBG Duck to have him killed.
The feds weren't playing around. In January 2024, 6 O Block members were convicted for FBG Duck's murder: Charles Liggins, Kenneth Robertson, Christopher Thomas, Marcus Smart, Carlo Offord, and Ralph Turpin. And these weren't just random street guys, these were Durk's people, his alleged soldiers, carrying out orders from the very top of the OTF structure. Now, when people say Durk killed Duck on camera, they don't mean there's a video of Durk pulling the trigger himself. It goes deeper than that. They're talking about a digital trail, social media posts, rap lyrics, music videos, and phone records that prosecutors say tell the full story of a planned, organized hit. Take King Von's Took Her to the O video for example. It dropped months before Duck's murder, and in the video, Von's character is seen killing someone named Duck. The lawsuit says this was part of a bigger plan, a campaign of intimidation, meant to scare Duck before the hit. And with over 350 million views, prosecutors argue it wasn't just a song, it was a threat. The streets already knew about the tension between O Block and Chicago. But what makes this case wild is how Durk allegedly used his fame and money to turn gang beef into a full-blown conspiracy, almost like a corporate-level operation. Big music labels like Sony, Universal, Alamo, and Empire are even being named in lawsuits. They're being accused of profiting off the violence, while ignoring the real-life consequences. And here's where it gets even crazier. Ralph Turpin, one of the convicted shooters, was allegedly in contact with a phone number tied to Durk's brother, D-Pain, right around the time FBG Duck was located and killed. This wasn't a random shootout in the streets. Prosecutors say this was a well-coordinated hit, with communication going all the way up the chain of command. The streets had been whispering about this for years, and now, it looks like the courts are finally catching up. FBG Duck's murder wasn't just another gang-related killing. According to prosecutors, it was a strategic decision, made by the leadership of one of the most powerful crews in hip-hop. And to understand why things escalated, you have to look at what Duck did before his death. When he dropped Dead BCH, it wasn't just another drill track. He was disrespecting the dead, calling out specific O Block members by name, mocking how they died, and questioning their street legacy. In Chicago drill culture, that's the ultimate violation, and prosecutors say that track is what put a target on Duck's back. What makes this case stand out is the level of planning behind it. This wasn't about someone getting mad and reacting on impulse. This was allegedly a calculated move, a business decision, with the OTF leadership weighing the risks and rewards of eliminating a major rival. They claim it wasn't just personal, it was profitable. Think about what it would take: people tracking Duck's every move, someone powerful enough to greenlight a hit in broad daylight, shooters willing to risk life in prison, and an entire system ready to capitalize on the aftermath. This wasn't just street-level thinking. According to the lawsuit, it was a corporate-level criminal enterprise.
2 vehicles pulled up. 4 individuals exited those vehicles, 2 from each vehicle, and began firing at the individuals that were on the sidewalk outside of one of the stores here.
The social media side of this case shows just how different things are in the digital age. Every Instagram post, tweet, and YouTube video can now be used as evidence in building a RICO case. The same platforms these rappers used to gain fame and followers are now being used to track their every move, documenting what prosecutors claim are real-life crimes. And the evidence, it's stacking up like bricks, one piece at a time, each one pointing to OTF, not just as a rap crew but as a full-blown criminal enterprise. According to the lawsuit, OTF was allegedly using music industry money and connections to fund street violencia and profiting off the chaos it caused. What makes this even more tragic is that FBG Duck may have been trying to turn things around before he was killed. Back in 2019, he dropped a track called Chicago Legends, where he paid respect to fallen members from both sides. Some people saw it as a peace offering, a rare moment of unity. But in the streets, nobody forgets. And apparently, neither did the Fed. The government is not playing with this case. The word profit appears 102 times in the 229-page lawsuit, showing just how much prosecutors believe this was really about money and clout. Every time a diss track was streamed, every time a music video was watched, every time someone posted about Duck's death, that all allegedly turned into real money in OTF's pockets. This isn't just a case of 2 rappers beefing. This is about how the music industry may have turned street violence into a business model where record labels funded artists they knew were active in the street just because controversy sells and authenticity makes money. And it goes even deeper. Now we follow the paper trail and digital footprints that prosecutors are using to build a RICO case that could completely change how people view drill rap and Chicago street politics. This isn't barbershop talk anymore. We're talking about federal investigations, wiretaps, and a digital map that all
individuals murdered Mr. Weekly as part of their effort to maintain or increase their position in the O Block.
Let's start with the music, because in drill rap the lyrics often tell the truth. Durk's 2021 song Should Have Ducked wasn't just a diss track. According to prosecutors, it was basically a victory lap. When Durk rapped, "She asked me how high do I get, I told her high as duck," that wasn't just clever wordplay. The lawsuit says this was Durk profiting off FBG Duck's death, turning the murder into marketing material for streams and clout. But it doesn't stop with just one song. In Durk's 2024 track Monitoring Me, he says, "I don't gotta pay nobody to do nothing. I got killers, all my friends." Prosecutors aren't treating that like art, they're treating it like a confession. They believe Durk is admitting to having a crew of shooters ready to act on his word. To them, these aren't just farce-here evidence. Now add in the social media activity, and it gets even more suspicious. Durk tweeted "RIP Nusky" on the same day FBG Duck was murdered. Fans noticed the timing gone, so did investigators. According to the feds, the pattern of social media posts around the time of Duck's death suggests that some members of OTF knew what was coming before it happened. And there's the King Von angle, which is where everything connects. Von wasn't just another rapper on Durk's label. The lawsuit claims he was the underboss of OTF, one putting out bounties and coordinating hits. His song Took Her to the O wasn't just storytelling. With over 350 million views, prosecutors say it was a public threat directed at FBG Duck. But it's the phone record that really tightened the case. Ralph Turpin, the man accused of alerting the shooters about Duck's location, was in contact with a number linked to D-Pain, Durk's brother and alleged lieutenant. This wasn't random. The feds believe this was a well-organized hit, with communication flowing up and down the chain of command inside OTF. Now here's where it all comes together. The money trail. Every time Duck's name was mentioned in a song, every time his death was brought up in an interview, every stream and video view, it all allegedly added up to profit for Durk and his crew. The lawsuit claims OTF became a global brand by glorifying FBG Duck's murder on turning real-life street violence into marketing gold. The more real the beef, the more views, the more authentic the violence, the more money it brought in. FBG Duck's murder wasn't just another street tragedy. Prosecutors say it was seen as a business opportunity, a way to build up clout, money, and music career. And this story gets even bigger when you look at the record labels involved. Sony, Universal, Alamo, and Empire are all named in the lawsuit. They're being accused of turning a blind eye to criminal activity while knowingly profiting from violence. The lawsuit says these labels welcomed artists with street ties, because controversy sells and real beef makes fans listen.
The threatening, the killing, and then the celebration of the killing, and the continued killing. All on the name of profit.
Let me break down just how sophisticated this whole operation really was. We're not talking about some street-level crew handling beef the old-school way. According to prosecutors, this was a multi-million-dollar enterprise using real business structures to fund and organize criminal activity. OTF had contracts with major record labels, distribution deals, touring agreements, and merchandise operations, and prosecutors say all of that may have been used as a cover for a continuing criminal enterprise. This wasn't random, there was a pattern, and the timeline of events backs it up. First, FBG Duck drops diss tracks calling out fallen O Block members. Then, according to the feds, King Von puts a bounty on Duck's head. Shortly after that, Von drops the "Took Her to the O" video, which the lawsuit says acted as a public threat aimed at Duck. Then, Duck is located and killed in broad daylight, and prosecutors claim there was communication going back to the top of OTF leadership around that same time. Even the footage from the day of the murder supports this theory. The location, the timing, and the way it all went down. Prosecutors say it all points to one thing: this was a planned, coordinated hit.
Hey y'all, man, they done shot FBG Duck in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bruh. In the Gold Coast of Chicago, bruh.
FBG Duck was in the Gold Coast, far from his usual territory. But somehow, the O Block shooters knew exactly where to find him. That kind of coordination and intelligence gathering doesn't just happen by accident. During the trial of the 6 O Block members, new details came out. One of the most powerful moments was the testimony from Duck's girlfriend, who's also the mother of his child. She described constant threats and harassment from OTF members, proving that this wasn't just music, it was personal, systematic, and allegedly ordered from the top. That's why the feds are going after OTF with RICO charges the same way they take down the mafia. Prosecutors are arguing that rap collectives and street gangs have merged, forming what they call hybrid criminal enterprises. And the music industry, they say, is helping fund and cover it all up. What makes this case even more intense is the recent murder-for-hire charges against Lil Durk, related to the Quando Rondo shooting. The pattern is the same: alleged retaliation for King Von's death using OTF resources, with Durk supposedly pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Build their case. The feds are establishing a pattern of behavior showing that OTF allegedly functions as a continuing criminal enterprise, and the civil lawsuit filed by Duck's mother, Lashina Weekly, is helping support that narrative. This 230-page legal document reads like a federal indictment. It includes detailed claims that Durk used his fame, money, and connections to orchestrate violence against rivals, all while turning that violence into profit. The digital evidence keeps piling up, and the response from the music industry says a lot. Durk lost his honorary key to the city of Broadview, Illinois, and his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation lost partnerships. Even his own community is now starting to distance themselves from him. And the streets they're reacting to. Social media is full of mixed emotions. People are tired of the violence, others still defend Durk. But even fans are starting to question if all this fame was really worth the cost. The aftermath of Duck's murder is still unfolding, and it's not just affecting Chicago's drill scene, it's sending shockwaves through the entire music industry. This isn't about just one murder anymore. It's about a systemic pattern of violence, and prosecutors say it was organized by one of the biggest names in hip-hop. Let's be real about what happened after Duck died. Durk didn't fall back, allegedly celebrated the murder. His track Should Have Ducked wasn't just a diss, it was, according to the lawsuit, a way to profit off Duck's death. And when Duck's mom heard those lyrics, she didn't just get angry, she got organized. That's what led to the massive lawsuit that's now threatening to bring down OTF and possibly shake up the entire drill rap industry. What makes this lawsuit powerful is the strategy behind it. Duck's family didn't just sue Durk, they also named major record labels and even the city of Chicago. Why? Because they're saying this wasn't just about street politics. They say the police failed, the labels profited from violence, and the system let it all happen.
As a company, when you realize that you have a dangerous product, when you're pushing that dangerous product out to the public, you have a responsibility to ensure that that dangerous product does not injure or hurt or harm him.
The timing of Lil Durk's arrest for the Quando Rondo murder for hire case couldn't have been more perfect for prosecutors. When the feds picked him up in Florida, they weren't just charging him for one incident. They were building a larger case, trying to show that OTF operates like a criminal organization. The similarities between FBG Duck's murder and the alleged hit on Quando Rondo are impossible to ignore. Both reportedly involved bounties. Both were allegedly acts of retaliation, and both, according to prosecutors, have Durk's fingerprints all over them. This isn't just about one rapper anymore. The feds are using the same playbook they used to take down the mafia, arguing that some hip-hop collectives are functioning like modern-day crime syndicates. And what's really hurting Durk is how they're using his own lyrics as evidence. When he raps about having killers as friends, the feds say he's not just being creative, he is confessing. When he name-drops murders or beefs in songs, they argue it shows he had inside knowledge and was possibly involved. To the prosecutors, this isn't RT's a blueprint, and the impact of this case could go way beyond Durk or OTF. The music industry is watching closely. Why? Because if prosecutors prove that record labels are funding artists who commit crimes, and profiting off that violence, then major companies like Sony and Universal could be held legally responsible. The lawsuit says these labels were basically accessories to murder, investing in violence, because it sells. And while the courts handle the legal drama, the streets are watching too. In a powerful moment, the fathers of Duck and Durk came together publicly to promote peace. Even in the middle of everything, it was a hopeful sign that healing is still possible. But for many, this case is about justice. Prosecutors claim that OTF made millions from streams, concerts, and merch, and that Duck's murder played a role in that success. Every time a song about his death was played, they say, OTF profited. And the digital trail is hard to ignore. There are social media posts and messages that allegedly show coordination between OTF members around the time of Duck's murder. The feds have been carefully building a timeline, and it allegedly places Durk at the center of the conspiracy. This case has deeply affected Chicago's drill scene. Young artists are now watching what they say, knowing that lyrics can and will be used in court. The line between expression and confession has never been more blurred, and the world is watching. Drill music didn't just stay in Chicago, it spread to New York, the UK, and all over the world. And now prosecutors across the globe are paying attention to how America handles the mix of music, money, and violence. Meanwhile, FBG Duck's mother has become more than just a grieving parent. Through her lawsuit and activism, she's become a voice for change, shining a light on what she says is a system built to profit off the deaths of young black men in cities like Chicago. And if the courts agree, this could set a legal precedent that changes the entire music industry. Labels may soon have to think twice about signing artists whose authenticity is tied to real violence. Because in this new era, what sells might also convict. Treating hip-hop crews like crime families, prosecutors are now adapting RICO laws to fit the modern world where criminal organizations don't just move weight or shake down businesses anymore. They build their image through music and social media. The amount of coordinated activity between different levels of this alleged conspiracy keeps growing, from street-level shooters to executives at major label. This case shows how modern criminal networks can stretch across both legit and illegal businesses. As this story moves through the courts, it's becoming clear that FBG Duck's murder was allegedly just one part of a much bigger pattern of violence. Prosecutors say this pattern was coordinated by OTF, and that's what makes this case so dangerous for everyone involved. Right now, the future of OTF hangs in the balance. If Lil Durk is convicted, it could mean the end of one of hip-hop's most successful independent labels and a clear warning to other artists about the real consequences of mixing street life with the music business. And we're already seeing the ripple effects. Rappers are backing away from violent lyrics. Labels are thinking twice about who they sign. Venues are tightening up security at shows. The cost of being authentic is starting to outweigh the benefits. But what really makes this case so important is that it's forcing the music industry to look in the mirror. This lawsuit isn't just about blaming rappers, it's about holding the entire system accountable. It asks a powerful question: at what point does promoting raw street music turn into funding real-life violence? Duck's family argues there's no different. When a rapper's criminal life is what makes them real, then signing them and pushing their music is like investing in the crimes themselves. This case could change the game. If prosecutors prove that hip-hop collectives like OTF operate as criminal enterprises, and that record labels can be held responsible for the crimes their artists committed, could totally reshape the way the music industry works. Because if the price of street credibility is now potential federal liability, a lot of people are going to think twice. In Chicago, people are watching this case closely. They know the outcome could decide whether the cycle of violence that's taken so many young lives will keep going, or whether the system will finally hold accountable the people who've been profiting from that bloodshed. Duck's death wasn't just another name in the drill scene. According to prosecutors, it was a calculated business decision made at the highest levels of the music world. And as the feds continue to build their case, the evidence keeps pointing to one thing: OTF may have been more than just a rap collective. If the allegations are true, we're talking about a criminal organization using music industry resources to fund and coordinate real violence. This isn't just two rappers beefing. This is about how deeply criminal activity may have infiltrated the music industry itself. And with that, we've reached the end of this deep dive. If you found this video eye-opening, smash that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and check out the cards on screen for more stories like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them. Thanks for watching.